The John Templeton Foundation is a philanthropic organization that funds interdisciplinary research about human purpose and ultimate reality. It is usually referred to simply as the Templeton Foundation. It was established in 1987 by investor and philanthropist Sir John Templeton. His son John Templeton, Jr., took over the presidency until his death in 2015. Heather Templeton Dill became president in June 2015. The mission of the foundation is to serve as a philanthropic catalyst for discoveries relating to the big questions of human purpose and ultimate reality. We support research on subjects ranging from complexity, evolution, and infinity to creativity, forgiveness, love, and free will. We encourage civil, informed dialogue among scientists, philosophers, and theologians and between such experts and the public at large, for the purposes of definitional clarity and new insights. Our vision is derived from the late Sir John Templeton's optimism about the possibility of acquiring new spiritual information, and from his commitment to rigorous scientific research and related scholarship. The Foundation's motto, "How little we know, how eager to learn," exemplifies our support for open-minded inquiry and our hope for advancing human progress through breakthrough discoveries. According to the Foundation, it gives away about $70 million per year in research grants and programs. The Foundation restructured its grant-making process in January 2010. It is divided into 5 core funding areas which include science and the big questions, character development, freedom and free enterprise, exceptional cognitive talent and genius, genetics. The Foundation accepts online funding inquiries each year. If the initial inquiry is successful, applicants are invited to make a full proposal. Typically, grants are approved in a process that incorporates scientific peer review. The Foundation funds many high-level scientific research projects, usually by means of international competitions to which research teams from large universities apply. In 2008, the Foundation received the National Humanities Medal from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Core funding areas. The Foundation divides its primary activities into the following areas. Science and the big questions. The largest of the Foundation's funding areas, Science and the Big Questions, covers the following: mathematical and physical sciences, life sciences, human sciences, philosophy and theology, science in dialogue. Mathematical and physical sciences. The Foundation focuses its funding in this area on foundational questions in mathematics or projects that seek a deeper understanding of the nature of reality within the realm of physics, cosmology, astronomy, chemistry or other physical sources. Examples of projects that have received funding include the Foundational Questions Institute, established by physicists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and University of California, Santa Cruz. FQXI supports research on questions at the foundations of physics and cosmology, particularly new frontiers and innovative ideas integral to a deep understanding of reality but unlikely to be supported by conventional funding sources. Life sciences. Life sciences covers projects examining the evolution and fundamental nature of life, human life, and mind, especially as they relate to issues of meaning and purpose. The Foundation supports theistic evolution. Projects that have received funding from the Foundation cover a variety of fields including the biological sciences, neuroscience, archaeology, and paleontology. Professor Simon Conway Morris from the University of Cambridge was awarded a grant in this area for his Map of Life project, which seeks to document examples of evolutionary convergence. Professor Martin Novak, director of the Program for Evolutionary Dynamics at Harvard University, was awarded a grant for the Foundational Questions in Evolutionary Biology initiative, which seeks to advance fundamental questions in the context of evolutionary biology and to generate new understanding in the origins of biological creativity. the deep logics of biological dynamics and ontology, and the concepts of teleology and ultimate purpose in the context of evolutionary biology. Human sciences. The Foundation provides funding to projects that look to apply disciplines such as anthropology, sociology, political science, and psychology to various moral and spiritual concepts, such as altruism, creativity, free will, generosity, gratitude, intellect, love, prayer, and purpose. Purdue University in Indiana, USA received money from the foundation to establish its Center on Religion and Chinese Society, which studies the impact and role of religion in Chinese societies and among the Chinese diaspora. Philosophy and theology. The focus of this area is to support projects that attempt to develop new philosophical and theological insights, especially in relation to advances in scientific understanding. Anton Zeilinger, professor of physics at the University of Vienna, received a grant from Templeton to run a fellowship for young scholars interested in the nature of quantum reality and its philosophical implications. Science in Dialogue. The Foundation also funds projects that bring one or more scientific disciplines into a mutually enriching discussion with theologian or philosophy for an academic audience or the public. The World Science Festival received a grant from the Foundation for its Big Ideas series. It used this to host public discussions of subjects like nothing, the subtle science of emptiness, what it means to be human, and parallel universes. Character development. The Foundation supports a broad range of programs, publications, and studies focused on the universal truths of character development, from childhood through young adulthood and beyond. The qualities of character emphasized in the Foundation's charter include awe, creativity, curiosity, diligence, entrepreneurialism, forgiveness, generosity, gratitude, honesty, humility, joy, love, purpose, reliability, and thrift. Stanford University is among the recipients of a grant for William Damon's research on types of commitments young people hold and how those commitments develop, which was the first phase of the Youth Purpose Project. More recently, the Foundation awarded a grant to the University of Chicago for its research on an interdisciplinary study of virtue in relation to character development. The Foundation also supports the Purpose Prize, an initiative of Encore.org. The Purpose Prize recognizes people over 60 who are combining their passion and experience for social good. The Foundation has given $5.6 million in research grants to Robert A. Emmons, a psychology professor at the University of California, Davis, to promote his study of the science of gratitude. Also in promotion of gratitude studies, it gave $3 million to the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley to launch a multi-year project called Expanding the Science and Practice of Gratitude, which, among other endeavors, fosters research grant competition, gives dissertation awards, funds the Youth Gratitude Research Project, and co-produced a one-hour special program on the science of gratitude that aired on NPR in November 2015. Freedom and free enterprise. Sir John Templeton, a follower of classical liberalism from Adam Smith to Milton Friedman, believed that individual freedom was the indispensable foundation of economic, social, and spiritual progress, and that without economic freedom, individual freedom was fragile and vulnerable. To this end, the Foundation supports a range of programs which promote freedom and free enterprise. In 2007, a grant was awarded to Robert Townsend from the University of Chicago for the Enterprise Initiative, a research collaboration with MIT's Poverty Action Lab, Yale's Economic Growth Center, and the University of Chicago's Computation Institute. This initiative seeks to elucidate enterprise-based solutions to poverty by studying the specific factors that lead to success at the individual level. Exceptional cognitive talent and genius. The Foundation supports young people who demonstrate exceptional talent in mathematics and science. In the US, they have supported accelerated learning for students capable of working well beyond their grade level, and a number of the important national studies of the issue. Internationally, they have sponsored academic training and competitions for students who show extraordinary potential but whose talents might not otherwise be developed, especially because of their economic circumstances or insufficient educational support. One example of its work is the grant given to an academic from Princeton University for the study, Budapest, the Golden Years Early 20th Century Mathematics Education in Budapest and Lessons for Today. Genetics. The Foundation's engagement with this funding area is still in its early stages. The Foundation is particularly interested in major advances in genetics that might serve to empower individuals, leading to spiritually beneficial social and cultural changes. Previous genetics projects receiving grants from the Foundation include research on genetics and the origin of organismal complexity by Gunter P. Wagner and Alison Richard from Yale University. The Foundation established Can Genetically Modified Crops Help to Feed the World as 2011 funding priority. The Big Questions. The Foundation runs what it calls Big Questions Conversations, a campaign conceived in collaboration with the designer Milton Glaser. A panel of high-profile scholars and public figures are invited to address a question and write a detailed essay in response. To date, the Foundation has posed the following questions. Does the universe have a purpose? Will money solve Africa's development problems? Does science make belief in God obsolete? Does the free market corrode moral character? Does evolution explain human nature? Does moral action depend on reasoning? Contributors have included Bernard Henry L. Eacute V.Y., Ian Hersher Ali, Christopher Hitchens, Jerome Groupman, Robert Reich, He Kinglian, Steven Pinker, Francis Collins, Simon Conway Morris, Michael Gazzaniga, Rebecca Goldstein, and Jonah Lehrer. Prizes and awards. The Foundation is involved both in the awarding of prizes for specific achievements in different categories, and the funding of research in science and theology. The Templeton Prize, in addition to its central activity funding scientific studies, the Foundation awards the annual $1.5 million Templeton Prize to a living person who has made an exceptional contribution to affirming life's spiritual dimension, whether through insight, discovery, or practical works. The Templeton Prize was first awarded in 1973. The monetary amount is adjusted to be always slightly higher than the Nobel Prize. In 2010, the prize was $1.5 million. Since its inception, recipients of the prize have included Mother Teresa, Thais A. Pryor, Roger Schutz, evangelist Billy Graham, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and Barbara Amter. The 2015 prize laureate is John Vernier, the founder of LASH, a revolutionary international network of communities where people with and without intellectual disabilities live and work together as peers. The 2014 prize recipient was Thomas Halleck, a Czech priest and philosopher who risked imprisonment for illegally advancing religious and cultural freedoms after the Soviet invasion of his country, and has since become a leading international advocate for dialogue among different faiths and non-believers. In 2013, Desmond Tutu, the former Anglican Archbishop of Cape Town, won the Templeton Prize. His teachings combine the theological concept that all human beings are shaped in the image of God with the traditional African spirit of Ubuntu, in which humanity achieves personhood only through other people. In 2012, the 14th Dalai Lama Tenzin Gyatso received the prize for his work regarding connections between the investigative traditions of science and Buddhism, specifically by encouraging scientific reviews of the power of compassion and its potential to address the world's fundamental problems. In 2011, theoretical astrophysicist Martin Rees won the prize. The 2010 Templeton Prize winner was Francisco J. Ayala, an evolutionary geneticist and molecular biologist who has opposed the teaching of creationism in the public schools. In 2009, the French physicist and science philosopher Bernard Desmagnate won the prize. In 2008, Polish cosmologist and Roman Catholic priest Mitchell Heller was awarded the Templeton Prize. Heller received the prize in recognition of scholarship and research that has, according to the foundation, pushed at the metaphysical boundaries of science. In 2007, the Templeton Prize was awarded to Canadian philosopher Charles Taylor. Taylor is known for his belief that Western secular society does not satisfy the natural human desire for meaning. Commenting on the Templeton Prize award to Taylor, the United Kingdom's chief rabbi Sir Jonathan Sacks said, "If there is such a thing as a saint in a secular age, he deserves that title." Other recent prize winners include Charles H. Towns, professor in the Graduate School at the University of California, Berkeley, who shared the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1964 for his investigations into the properties of microwaves and his co-invention of the laser, and theoretical cosmologist George F.R. Ellis of the University of Cape Town, who advocates balancing the rationality of evidence-based science with the causal-effective forces beyond the explanation of hard science, including issues such as aesthetics, ethics, metaphysics, and meaning. Other prizes. In addition to the Templeton Prize, the Templeton Foundation also provides grants for several independently administered awards. These include the $100,000 Epiphany Prizes for inspiring movies and TV. Winners of the Movie Prize include Amazing Grace, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, The Passion of the Christ, Amistad and the Preacher's Wife. The Purpose Prize, sponsored by Encore.org with grants from the Atlantic Philanthropies and the John Templeton Foundation. This initiative annually provides 5 awards of $100,000 to people over 60 who are taking on society's biggest challenges. Winners have been recognized for a diverse range of activities, from creating a mentor network for refugees to reducing rates of young offender recidivism. Other recipients of funding: individuals associated with Templeton-funded initiatives or who have received support from the Templeton Foundation, include Paul Davies, Max Tegmark, John D. Barrow, James Otterson, Stephen G. Post, Martin Seligman, Harold Koenig, Lawrence Iannacone, Nicholas Colangelo, and Alexander Aston. Organizations that are associated or which have received grants include the American Association for the Advancement of Science, Encore.org, Developmental Studies Center, Junior Achievement, Perimeter Institute for Theoretical Physics, Rotary International, and many major research universities, including the California Institute of Technology, Cambridge University, Harvard University, MIT, Oxford University, Princeton University, Yale University, and among others. Nature magazine listed the top 10 grants. Foundational questions in evolutionary biology. Foundational questions in physics and cosmology. The 7 Fund. Enterprise-based solutions to poverty. Establishing an institute for research on unlimited love. The Purpose Prize for social innovators over the age of 60. Templeton Cambridge Journalism Fellowships and Seminars in Science and Religion. Accelerating Progress at the Interface of Positive Psychology and Neuroscience. AAAS Dialogue on Science, Ethics, and Religion. Promoting a Culture of Generosity, Part 1. Feature film. Promoting a Culture of Generosity, Part 2. The Philanthropy Channel. Media Transparency lists grant-receiving institutions for 1998 to 2004. The top 5 are Center for Theology and the Natural Sciences, National Institute for Healthcare Research, Philadelphia Center for Religion and Science, Meta-Nexus Institute, Science and Spirit Resources, Inc. The foundation also has media presence. It runs its own publisher, Templeton Press, and from 2004 to 2010, it published the periodical In Character, a journal of everyday virtues. Each issue had a theme such as thrift, or purpose, or honesty. All of the articles are archived online. Leadership. The John Templeton Foundation's executive leadership team is as follows. Dawn Bryant, ESQ, Executive Vice President, General Counsel. Barnaby Marsh D. Phil, Executive Vice President, Strategic Initiatives. Michael J. Murray, Ph.D., Executive Vice President, Programs. Douglas W. Scott, Executive Vice President, Chief Administrative Officer. The current president of the Templeton Foundation is Heather Templeton Dill, daughter of the late John M. Templeton, Jr., and granddaughter of Sir John Templeton. Templeton, Jr., was an evangelical Christian and an independently wealthy person who was active in philanthropy outside of the mandate of the Templeton Foundation itself. This includes personal support to various conservative causes. Templeton, Jr., always maintained that his own personal religious beliefs do not affect his ability to administer the foundation in accordance with the wishes of his father. The Templeton Foundation has also gone to great lengths to stress that it is non-political with no bias towards any one faith. On July 22, 2015, the John Templeton Foundation announced that, with the passing of Dr. Jack Templeton, Heather Templeton Dill was appointed president of the John Templeton Foundation by the Board of Trustees.